Have you ever lived this? After endless fights, you still hoped, while she had already decided. One morning, she ends it calmly, and within days, she's with someone new, as if it was arranged long ago. The truth is brutal. Women don't leave suddenly. They leave after months of preparation you never saw. Machiavelli warned, in love, the one who acts first always wins. In this video, I'll expose their hidden exit strategy and how you can stop being the man left unprepared if you've ever felt discarded overnight. Stay. 1. The silent exit strategy. She does not leave when the door closes behind her. She leaves the moment her eyes stop searching for yours, even as her hand still rests in your palm. Most men mistake this quiet for peace. In reality, it is the calm before their execution. What looks like love drifting away is actually strategy unfolding in silence. Ethan was 32, a mechanic in Austin. His hands were always covered in grease from long hours at the shop, but he saved every weekend for her. He thought effort would prove his worth. After every disagreement, he bought flowers, cooked dinner, or suggested a trip to the lake. He believed problems could be solved with more giving. One Friday night they sat at the kitchen table. He talked about buying a bigger apartment, showing her listings on his phone. She nodded, eyes distant, scrolling through something else. Then he noticed it, the faint smile that wasn't for him. Not joy, not playfulness, just the quiet glow of someone already dreaming about another life. He asked, "What's funny?" She said, "Oh, nothing." That small moment froze him. He didn't know it yet, but she had already ended the relationship in her mind weeks ago. She had written goodbye letters she would never send. She had cried through her decision alone at the gym, dried her face and returned home with steady composure. When she finally told him, "I think we should take a break," she was calm, almost detached. Ethan shattered in that kitchen, blindsided, while she walked away already free. To him, it felt sudden. To her, it was a chapter long since closed. When was the last time she smiled at something you could not see while sitting right beside you? Be honest, and I will show you the move that flips that silence into strength. Type a few words or drop a green check right now. Machiavelli warned that the one who controls timing always controls the battlefield. In love, timing is not about calendars or anniversaries, it is about preparation. She does not need to fight because she has already rehearsed her escape. Like a chess player who sees checkmate 10 moves ahead, she sacrifices presence today to guarantee freedom tomorrow. By the time he notices the silence, the game is already lost. What comes next is not rejection, it is the way power quietly shifts when someone prepares in secret. He thought persistence was intimacy. She saw it as permission to detach unnoticed. He believed every argument patched with gifts meant progress. She knew it only bought her more time to plan. And when the final words came, his heart collapsed in one night, while hers had been healing for months. The mirror is clear. How much of devotion is true closeness, and how much is surrender disguised as love? Do one thing tonight. Stop rushing to repair every silence with more words. When the room grows quiet, let it stay quiet. That discomfort is not weakness, it is your boundary taking shape. If anxiety rises, hold it. Strength is not proving you can make someone stay. Strength is showing that you can remain whole if they leave. Soon, you will see why control is never about chasing, it is about readiness. Her silence was never emptiness, it was preparation. While you still believed in a future, she was already upgrading herself, scanning her options and building a bridge to someone else. The next part exposes this hidden phase, where her exit is not sudden at all, but engineered months in advance. Skip it, and you will keep mistaking quiet detachment for love, while she is already arranging her replacement. 2. Stealth market research and physical preparation. The shock is never in the goodbye, it is in the quiet days before, when nothing seems wrong, Yet something invisible has already shifted. You think her longer workouts are discipline. You think her brighter clothes are just for herself. You think the new friends are harmless. What you don't see is that every detail is part of a design. She is not lost in confusion. She is testing the market while you are still investing in the future. Ethan was 34, a project manager in Denver. He had been dating Melissa for 3 years and was planning to propose by Christmas. She seemed distant lately, but he thought stress at work was the reason. He noticed she started going to the gym more often, changed her hairstyle, and began spending time with colleagues he had never met. One Friday night, she scrolled through her phone quickly when he leaned closer. He smiled, told himself it was nothing. At a birthday dinner the next week, she laughed too freely at a joke from a male co-worker. Ethan's chest tightened, but he swallowed it down. Then, one evening, while folding laundry, he found a shopping bag hidden behind the couch. New dresses with tags still on, clothes he had never seen her wear with him. In that moment, his heart froze. The truth hit. She was preparing for a stage where he had no role. Her silence at home was not distance, it was rehearsal. Next time her habits change quietly, new clothes, new friends, new routines. Will you stay blind or read the signs? If you dare, say it, and I will show you how to expose the strategy behind the disguise. One word or a fire emoji is enough. Machiavelli warned that power belongs to the one who controls appearances. She was not cheating in body, but she was cheating in time. While he lived in the present, she was already securing her future. It is like a chess game, where one player studies the whole board while the other is still admiring his opening move. By the time he realizes he is in danger, the queen has already cornered him. What comes next is not rejection, it is the system she builds to exit on her terms while you are still trapped in hope. He thought the gym was self-care. She saw it as preparation. He thought new friendships were casual. She saw them as bridges. He thought the silence meant stress. She used it as cover. How many times has a man mistaken strategy for coincidence, only to wake up replaced? Here is the small action that changes everything. Stop believing surface changes are random. When patterns shift, when style, schedule, and circles all change at once, do not explain them away. Step back, watch. Let her reveal what those changes really mean. If your chest feels uneasy, do not rush to soothe it. That discomfort is not paranoia, it is your first glimpse of truth. And in the next part, you will learn how she takes this preparation and turns it into total control of the breakup itself. Skip this and you will keep living blind, waiting for communication that never comes. Stay and you will see why the departure control matrix makes breakups feel sudden when they were engineered long before you knew. 3. The departure control matrix. The cruelest truth is not that she leaves, it is that she leaves on her terms while you are still begging for clarity. She decides the hour, the stage, and the script. You are not part of the decision, you are part of the announcement. By the time the words reach your ears, the play has already ended, and you were the last one to know. Take Marcus, 42, an accountant in Atlanta. He believed that marriage meant negotiation, compromise, and shared effort. For months he sensed tension with his wife, but every time he asked, she smiled and brushed it aside. "I'm fine, just tired." He accepted it. He doubled his hours at work, booked a summer vacation, even started saving for the car she once admired. Then, on a quiet Sunday morning over coffee, she spoke with terrifying calm. "I've already filed the papers. I'm moving out next week." His world collapsed in one sentence. Yet the truth was harsher. It had not collapsed that morning. It had been dismantled for months. She had secured a new apartment, redirected savings, told her closest friends, all while he believed they were planning their future. Marcus realized that while he was living inside the marriage, she had already exited in silence. When did you last believe her calm voice while she was already gone inside? Do not lie. I will show you why that mistake left you begging at the end. Write a few words or drop an X so others can see it too. Machiavelli warned that timing is the sharpest weapon in the arsenal of power. The one who dictates the moment of departure dictates the entire battlefield. It is like corporate layoffs. The board has months of preparation, while employees get one meeting and a box for their desk. Control of timing creates control of outcome. What comes next isn't heartbreak. It is the mechanics of power. How departure itself becomes a weapon when handled in silence. He thought problems would be solved through conversation. She knew silence gave her the advantage. He thought endings were mutual. She understood endings are claimed, not shared. How many men confuse calm voices for compromise, only to learn too late that the decision had already been made? Here is a shift you can practice today. Stop assuming calm means safety. When everything appears fine but the distance is real, stop trusting words and start reading movements. Watch where attention, time, and energy flow. If you feel blindsided, it is because you trusted dialogue while she was executing strategy. And this leads to the next truth. Control is not just about when she leaves, it is about what she knows and what she withholds. The matrix works because she possesses information you don't, and she positions resources long before you realize they are even in play. Miss the next part and you will keep entering battles already lost. Stay and you will see how information asymmetry quietly determines who walks away strong and who walks away broken. 4. Information asymmetry and resource positioning. The cruelest part of a breakup isn't the ending. It's discovering that the ending was written months ago while you were still building the future. She wasn't confused. She wasn't undecided. She was executing a timeline that you never saw, and you were the last one invited to your own goodbye. David, 34, worked as a systems analyst in Denver. He thought his relationship with Emily was going through a rough patch. They argued more, but she reassured him with half smiles and soft words. It's just stress. Work is heavy. He believed her. One evening, after cooking dinner, he noticed she had 2 phones on the counter. When he asked, she brushed it off. It's just for work. He let it go. What he didn't see was the quiet architecture she had been building. Emily had already found a new apartment, signed the lease under her sister's name, and arranged movers. She had set up a financial plan that siphoned her money into a separate account. She had even shifted her social narrative, telling friends that she felt unsupported, so that when she left, the story would already be on her side. David kept pouring money into their joint vacation savings, kept suggesting weekend trips to fix things, kept believing there was a future. Until one Friday night, Emily walked in with rehearsed calm and said, "I think we've grown apart." She handed him a breakup already scripted, with resources, support, and sympathy waiting for her. He was left staring at a future that never existed outside his imagination. When did you last ignore a hidden phone, a secret account, or a new story because you wanted peace more than truth? If you dare, share it, and I will show you how to stop being the blind one. One word or a clock emoji is enough. Type it now. Machiavelli warned that power belongs to the one who holds the full map while the other walks blindfolded. This is information asymmetry, the cruel imbalance where one side controls timing, resources, and story while the other clings to illusions. It is not love that decides outcomes. It is preparation. What comes next isn't chance, it's how resource positioning quietly shifts the battlefield long before you even know war has begun. He thought arguments were signals to repair. She treated them as cover to prepare. He invested in a shared life that never made it past her diary, while she invested in an exit plan disguised as independence. The tragedy isn't that he lost her, it's that he never had access to the rules of the game. How many of your efforts are genuine connection, and how many are investments in futures already dissolved in her mind? Stop assuming that words equal reality. When actions begin to shift, new routines, new accounts, new stories, see them for what they are. Do not keep funding dreams that only one of you intends to live. Hold back one decision, one commitment, one plan until her consistency matches her claims. Because the next insight will reveal how optionality, not love, decides who walks away strong. Skip what comes next and you'll never see how women maintain hidden portfolios of options, ensuring they never fall alone. The next part exposes the machinery of optionality portfolio management, the most strategic safety net you were never meant to notice. 5. Optionality portfolio management. He thought she was loyal because she stayed. The truth was sharper. She stayed because she had not yet activated her next option. What looks like commitment is often only suspended transition. By the time he suspects distance, she already has the next door unlocked and waiting. Mark, 37, a logistics manager in Dallas, lived with his girlfriend for almost 3 years. He noticed how her phone lit up with the same colleague's name more often, though the messages seemed harmless. She laughed at jokes he never heard, accepted invitations to after-work events he wasn't part of, and began adding new fitness classes to her schedule. Mark dismissed it as normal life. People change, they expand their circles. What he didn't see was the quiet orbit forming around her, a colleague who checked in during stressful days, a childhood friend who resurfaced at just the right time, and a social acquaintance who offered the excitement of a different lifestyle. None of them crossed the line into open betrayal. None of them needed to. They only needed to stay close enough that when the relationship finally cracked, she wouldn't fall. She would step directly into a prepared safety net. The day she left, she didn't face loneliness. She stepped into a network of men already invested, already waiting. Mark sat in an empty apartment, stunned at how easily she slipped into a new life that seemed rehearsed. For him, the ending was devastation. For her, it was simply transition. If you could whisper one command to yourself before confusing loyalty with suspended transition, what would you say? Be ruthless, and I will rewrite it in Machiavelli's voice. One short line or the book emoji is enough. Machiavelli warned that power belongs not to the one who loves the most, but to the one who manages options like weapons. What men mistake for faithfulness is often portfolio management, a system of orbits and reserves where backups are warmed, tested, and secured long before the first door closes. It is not betrayal in her eyes, it is insurance. You're not fading, you're filtering, and in a moment, you'll see why her backups make your devotion irrelevant. He thought presence meant security. She saw it as license to explore. He invested in one future, she diversified into many. He clung to permanence, she cultivated mobility. The fracture isn't that she left, it's that she was never only with him. How many of your relationships are truly exclusive, and how many are only pauses between options? Pull back from overcommitment. Do not assume silence equals loyalty. Notice who enters her orbit, who gets her attention outside your presence, and where she invests her energy. If it unsettles you, remember, discomfort is better than delusion, because the next revelation will show why recovery speed is the final advantage, and why men who ignore it fall further behind. Skip what comes next, and you will never see how the recovery time differential decides who collapses and who rises stronger. Miss it, and you remain the man left reeling while she has already begun again. 6. Recovery time differential. The shock never hits evenly. When he is still replaying the last argument in his head, she is already laughing at a cafe table with someone new. That is the cruel imbalance that defines the end game. One side stunned, the other side prepared. Ethan was 36, a construction project manager in Phoenix. He believed his 4-year relationship with Melissa was solid, even though work often kept him late. One evening he came home with takeout, ready to make up for lost time, only to find her suitcase by the door. She told him calmly that she had been unhappy for months, that she needed to find herself, and walked away. Days later, Ethan learned through mutual friends that Melissa had already been seeing someone from her fitness class. His nights became heavy with silence while her social media filled with brunch photos and weekend trips. The contrast was brutal. He was still trying to understand what went wrong while she was already building a new life. The loneliness was not just in his apartment. It was in the realization that the healing process had started for her long before she spoke a word. Machiavelli warned that the one who prepares in secret always dictates the terms of conflict. This is not just about romance, but about control of narrative, resources, and time. The man who begins grieving on day one is already months behind in a race he did not know was happening. It is like showing up to a chess match where your opponent has already played 10 moves, while you are still setting the board. And what comes next is more devastating than rejection itself. It is the way recovery speed decides who keeps the upper hand. He thought heartbreak was mutual. She had already moved on. He believed the wound was fresh. She had already healed. And every moment he stayed paralyzed only widened the gap that made reconciliation impossible and self-respect harder to reclaim. So the real question is not who left first. It is who recovered faster. What is one action this week you will take to recover before she even expects it? If you dare, declare it, and I will give you the strategy to make discomfort your weapon. One word or the shield emoji is enough. Drop it now. The action begins in silence. Stop explaining to your friends why she left. Stop checking her online presence for signs of regret. Begin rebuilding in ways that no one can measure but you. Each small refusal to chase is a quiet acceleration of your own recovery. And if it feels uncomfortable, remember, discomfort is proof that you are finally breaking the dependency that held you captive. Everything you've seen so far are fragments of a larger strategy. Miss the conclusion, and all you'll hold are scattered warnings with no way to use them. Because in the final part, every piece locks together, and that is where power shifts for good. This is where everything comes full circle. What you've seen was not just about breakups, it was about preparation. Women rarely walk away suddenly. They walk away after months of building their options, securing their independence, and crafting a story that makes them untouchable. The shock is not that they leave, it's that men never saw it coming, and the man who stays blind will always feel blindsided. But this isn't about fear, it's about power. A strong man doesn't wait for the ground to collapse under him. He notices the signals, he positions himself, and when the storm comes, he doesn't break. Even if she walks away, his spirit doesn't. He knows that strength is not in holding on, but in rebuilding faster than anyone expected. Think of Daniel, a 36-year-old teacher from Boston who wrote to us after his divorce. He said the silence in his apartment felt like proof he had failed. But instead of chasing closure, he built discipline. He ran every morning, cut off old habits, and learned to keep his cards close. Months later, he told us, "She thought leaving would destroy me. What it did was free me." That is the shift waiting for every man who refuses to be surprised again. Because when you stop reacting and start preparing, you no longer fear loss, you master it. You could be next. Subscribe now, because the quiet preparation you begin today will be the reason nothing ever blindsides you again.